Good morning. Happy Saturday. Welcome to a milestone, baby. The Paradigm Shift, episode 150. We have two unbelievable guests on today. I predict this will be an 8-figure conversation if you're available to receive it. Let's have some fun, guys. Big Blaine, I see you on. We're going to bring you on in less than five. First, waiting for my partner in crime, Big Dave. And let's get this party started. How's everybody feeling? Mark in the house, great to see you. Rich, Kim, Big Joe, everybody's out this morning. Rudy, I love it. Let me know how you guys are feeling today on this beautiful Saturday. A little brisk here in Manhattan. Just got back from a nice run. If the coffee don't hit you, the weather will. It's super refreshing if I'm being honest. Where's Big Dave? Let's see if we can add him. And let's get cracking, shall we? Totally free. We send out nuggets throughout the week and updates and strategies. It's a lot of fun. You can text the number on the bottom of the screen, 917-634-3796. And if you heard it right here, text the word Saturday so they know that you heard it here. All right, where's Big Dave? No sign of Big Dave. While we're waiting for Dave to come on, I'd love for you guys to let us know, how invested are you in your spirituality? In other words, like, aside from this 1% 3D reality that you're looking at, like this water bottle, the physical stuff, the iPhone, do you guys tap into something a little bit deeper beyond our logic? I'd love to know. And if so, like, what do you gravitate towards? Like, what are you really into right now? Okay. You know, while we don't see Dave on here, which is very bizarre, I do see Blaine, our first guest. So why don't we just go ahead and bring him right on? And Dave will join us when he can. Maybe Alex or Joe, you can let him know and remind him that he's not on yet. Hopefully everything's okay. There he is.
Hey, buddy.
And for the first time in 150 weeks, I'm joined first by the guest, then my co. How you doing, Blaine? It's good to see you again.
Hey, I'm doing great, and thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that was so much
Looking forward.
fun the other day when we got together, wasn't it?
Oh my God, I loved it. I did. Yeah, that was a great conversation.
Yeah.
It truly was.
Yeah, I love it. Every time I get together with you, I just love it. Such good energy, and I often learn so much. We're going to dive right in. For our communities, in case they weren't familiar, check out all the awesome stuff Blaine has going on. He's a Jedi in this stuff. I figured we'd just dive right in, Blaine. And one of the things that you often talk about is giving up what we are attached to. And I think that's so powerful. Tell us what you mean by that.
Giving up what we're attached to. Well, you know, if we go into Buddhistic philosophy, the source of all suffering is attachment. I mean, it's literally that simple. And where this actually has application is life is always in flow. Things are moving. Nothing is ever static. And where we get ourselves wrapped around the axle in business and in personal lives is we forget that life has a natural movement and a natural cycle to it, and we get attached to what is or what was. And when we get attached to what is or what was, that's where the tug starts to happen. And the whole notion of reinventing yourself. I mean, we go back to your book here. That's exactly what we're looking at here is, what do I need to hold on to? What do I need to let go of? What do I need to learn new?
Yeah.
And just being sensitive to that nuance.
Yeah, and oftentimes it's a belief or an identity that we just can't seem to shake. And as a result, by staying in that, we're unable to really expand, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's really great.
I can't hear you for some reason.
Can't hear me?
Oh, there he is. He's back.
Okay. Yeah, I'm holding this right now. I couldn't get it working on my desktop. Yeah, the idea of what limits me in life, and I've played with this notion for about 25 years. What limits me in life isn't who I am; it's who I think I'm not. So I get it, and this is an identity question. Yeah, as far as I can tell, there's two questions that are always operating in people's minds, and they're in the background. And it, literally is, who am I and where do I belong? Those two questions: who am I and where do I belong? And how those questions get answered makes a big difference in terms of how I function in my life. And the question, who am I, is not, this body, this identity that's got my label on it. My name is a label on it. It's really about my sense of self in a place, which is where, where do I belong comes into play. I mean, I can dance on top of a table, but I don't belong on top of a table, as an example. So that whole set of behaviors disappears for me.
Yeah. I absolutely love that. And this is so good. And segueing into one of the other things we talk about is increasing our awareness on what's possible. And a lot of people hear that term like tap into a higher consciousness or become more aware. You're so good at that. How can someone listening today begin to increase their awareness?
It starts just with you paying attention. Honest to God, it starts with paying attention, just noticing. Yeah. Large part in life is not noticing where I'm at. And, we talk about, and David and I both have explored this, and there's research that, supports this, but we have on average somewhere between 50 and 80,000 thoughts a day that kind of flip through our brain. Most of them are completely out of our awareness. And out of that batch of, thoughts that go through our brain, about 80% of them are negative. And there, probably about 90% of them are the same ones we had yesterday. So we've got this continual reinforcement loop that's going on, and we're not aware of it. There's a fascinating study that was done a number of years ago, and the paper that was published was called let's see if I can get this right. The dilemma, and basically the downside of the automaticity of being. Yeah, the automaticity of being. Most of us run on automatic. And what the data showed was that when we start to do something, and you put this in the context of New Year's resolutions, when we start to do something, only about 5% of our behavior is consciously directed. 95% of our behavior is influenced by stuff that is out of our awareness. So to answer your question, how do we begin to become more aware? We just start noticing. We just literally start noticing. Squirrel. Okay, my attention was just moved into a direction. I just saw a car pass by in the window behind you there. So a little piece of my attention just went there. And as a consequence of that, I wasn't completely focused and completely present. So all of that kind of comes into play here. So when I start noticing, then I start making some different choices. And the power of awareness truly is, it increases my choice-making capacity. The more awareness I have, the more choices I have in front of me. And I may continue to make the same choices, but at least now I'm aware of what's going on. They're not automatic.
It's so good. Unbelievable. And a comment that comes to mind is notice what you're noticing.
Yep.
Right? Even the fact that you just noticed the car gave you feedback that maybe you weren't 100% lasered and focused.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. And that's exactly how, when we're looking at how we sustain success in life, and most people would like to sustain success, this kind of goes back to the nature of attachment. Yeah, we like what we're doing, so we get attached to it. But the way that we sustain success in life is developing the capacity to continuously start over. That's how you develop sustainable success in life. It's not about holding on to what you have. It's learning how to start over again.
Yeah, absolutely love it. And also, and then questions can be your best friend, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, no question about that. No.
So in regards to that, how can somebody utilize that? Like, how is that, could that be tangible? Like, what should you be asking yourself?
That's going to be kind of a situational question. What's in front of me right now? So what is it? What's a thought I've never? I could go with this. Yeah, I held a meeting here at the house a bunch of years ago, and the theme of the meeting is, what are thoughts that we've never had that could inform where we've never been? And just kind of that kind of a question, what are thoughts we've never had that would inform where we've never been? So nature is always growing. And if I take a walk out in nature and I'll see a vine, and all of a sudden it appears someplace else, a month later. It's kind of like it's gone someplace it's never been before. And metaphorically, if I'm continuing to find myself in the same place doing the same thing I've always done, I want to start asking some different questions that get me to at least consider going someplace else that's more in alignment with who I think I might be and who I aspire to become.
Yeah, beautifully said. When was the last time you spoke to Uncle Dave? I hope he's okay. It's very unlike
Yeah,
him.
yeah, Thursday. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with him. Yeah, because he's almost never late.
Never. Yeah, I'm actually worried. I see he's a little bit of his team on the call. Nick, if you can, check up on
Yeah.
him and make sure, yeah, everything's good. I want to ask you one more, Blaine. You distinguish this so beautifully, and I think it'll be very helpful, including for myself. And I see Todd on here. We'll bring him on in a couple minutes. You talk about the difference between the law of attraction and the law of vibration. There is a difference. Tell us what it is.
Yeah, big difference. Big difference. Yeah, one of my best friends was Bob Proctor, and I've known Bob for years and years and years. He passed about a year and a half ago now. And I remember conversations with him out at his house, just sitting and talking with him. And yeah, Bob was featured in The Secret, the movie The Secret. And we got to talking about the law of attraction. And he, in a little twinkle in his eye, he says, the law of attraction is a secondary law. And I said, what do you mean by that, Bob? He said, yeah, people got it wrong. They think that if they just kind of put something up on their vision board, it will attract that act will attract whatever it is that I want. He said they've got it wrong because they don't understand that it's the vibration that creates the attraction. So the law of attraction is a secondary law. The law of vibration is the first law. And the point on that is that the entire universe works and operates at frequencies, different frequencies, and anything that's on that frequency band is available to me. So a jump in frequency begins to bring into my life things that are on that next frequency, that different frequency. So the law of attraction is predicated on being able to understand that frequency is in play. And here's where this gets to be, I think, really useful is if you really appreciate this, really appreciate this, you don't have to go through a linear process of cause effect, cause effect, cause effect. Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, I'm going to have this in 15 years. Well, whatever this may be, that goal out there for 15 years is always organized around a common thinking that is present on a current timeline, on a current frequency structure. So if you begin to think and feel in a different frequency structure, you just literally have a quantum shift. It's a phase shift in frequency. And it doesn't take time for that thing to now appear. It just takes frequency shift. And the phrase that I play with a lot in my life is it's already happened. I just haven't arrived.
That's good. And I think Einstein, one of Dave's favorite, actually, ironically, he said a quote that was something along the lines of everything is energy and energy is contagious. When I think of that, I think of this being a vibrational universe, and depending upon what frequency we're tuned into, will be a match for. And then after that, we can set our intentions and utilize the law of attraction. So it actually makes perfect sense that would be a secondary law.
Yep. So that's exactly how that works.
Yeah. Blaine, I'm going to bring on our second guest. I'd love for you to hang out for 10 minutes.
Absolutely. I'm right here.
Awesome.
Not going anywhere.
Yeah, I'm going to bring on Todd right now. Talk about a juggernaut. This is going to be great. Also, I know Dave's team is on here, guys. Hopefully everything's all right on his end. Check up on him because this is uncharacteristic. But this is great stuff. The law of vibration.
The law of vibration. We're working on frequencies right now just to be able to get you and I connected. I'm in Seattle up on Whidbey Island, and you're in New York.
Oh, you're in Seattle?
Yeah.
Is that where you're based out of?
Yep.
Why did I think California?
No, well, I used to be down in California. I go back and forth. But we've got 11 acres up here on an island, and just kind of sitting out here looking at the water right now.
Yeah, I love it. Seahawks fan?
Do I what?
Are you
Seahawks? Oh my God, yes. Yeah.
They just hired a young coach.
The youngest
right?
coach in the league now. After the oldest coach in the league, quote unquote, retired mutually, which was not the case, but that's another story entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All good stuff. One thing that you said that really stuck out to me is just giving up what we're attached to. I think so many people have formed a codependency on stuff that doesn't serve us, like limiting beliefs or the
Yeah.
or imposter syndrome and all that stuff.
Yep. I mean, and your book, I mean, and actually the CLS.
There he is. What's up, Todd?
What is up, fellas? Good to see you both.
Now I have fireworks behind me. Blaine, can you still hear us? We can't hear Blaine for some reason.
I can hear you.
Oh, there he is. Okay. Todd, interesting morning. I know you were going through some stuff, so thank you for joining us, everything you got going on. My partner in crime, Big Dave, who's joined me for 149 episodes, nowhere to be found this morning. We're hoping everything's okay on his end. But we're super excited to connect with you. And for our audience, in case you weren't familiar, do a deep dive, play catch up, and check out all the awesome stuff he's got going on. We're just going to dive right in. Real quick, where are you dialing in from? Where are you?
I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona.
It's a nice area. Trendy these days. Yeah. And we'll dive right into so many nuggets that you talk about. One that I think is really cool is how can we create effortless buying experiences?
Yeah.
And no matter what anybody's up to in their career or life, this could be helpful.
Yeah, it's actually a really interesting phenomenon, and we all go through it. But when we go through it, we're not conscious that we're going through a buyer's journey. And what we're really experiencing is excitement that's building up. We're experiencing momentum. And it's just like the vibrational energy that we discussed a few moments ago. So as somebody's going through a knowledge transfer, what most companies do, and is they slow it down. They slow it down by adding too many words. And when they add too many words, they lose momentum. And so when you want to create the excitement that a buyer needs, less words, brevity, because we're all like friggin' hummingbirds. When we come onto somebody's website and we're evaluating and we're like, hey, did they do this? And do they do this? And we like bounce around the page. And if we slow it down by adding too many words, long text, wall of text, it creates paralysis analysis. But when we use word brevity and people can look at it, they just check boxes like, oh, they do that. Oh, and they do that. And they do that. And then we've created momentum, and then we give them the next step to make a purchase. And a lot of times that action happens with limited text, but video to support it. And we allow the video to do the heavy lifting that transfers the bulk of the information that somebody needs to know. Does that make sense, fellas?
First of all, what makes all the sense. I love it so much. And Blaine, by the way, you're my new co-host for today. But Todd, this is so good. And oftentimes people can oversell, right? And that actually creates a little bit of like a sign of maybe lack of confidence because they think they have to overcompensate and maybe do too much. Would you agree?
I think it's a lot like watching your most skilled buddy back in the day in the bar. The most skilled buddy doesn't have to oversell. The least skilled buddy oversells and complicates it. So people aren't expecting an owner's manual when they're going through the buyer's journey. They're expecting to check little boxes off in their head. And when we play that game, we win. When we slow it down, we bring up all these questions that really are better served later on after the purchase.
Yeah. I love that phrase. The buyer isn't looking for an owner's manual.
They aren't.
Yeah.
And
I'll get the
often,
owner's manual later. I just want to know what I'm getting right now.
Right. And thank you for bringing Bob Proctor's name up. I mean, what an incredible gift to humanity he was for people like me and you and people all over the world. I mean, just an incredible intellectual giant.
Oh, he was. I love that man. Still do.
No doubt.
And this is so good. And then Todd, you mentioned video.
Yeah.
You speak on some of the biggest stages in the world, like Tony Robbins and so forth, and you're the king of the video messaging and so forth. Why do you think, maybe like based upon psychology, why is a video so effective?
People are lazy. I mean, no offense to all y'all that are watching, but you're watching, not reading right now, right? Mm-hmm. And the reason is it's the easy button. Video is the easy button. And this is why at the end of the evening, when you sit down after a long day of work, you don't open up Harvard Business Review. You don't like sit down and read a white paper. You turn on the TV and you relax. It's knowledge transfer that happens in an effortless way. And when sales teams and websites for businesses mature and they realize that, the path to the magic word of yes happens in a much faster way.
Beautifully said. Uncle Dave, you good?
Yes. I thank you everyone for your patience. I was on a coaching call and I I looked down and everyone was calling me. I'm like, why is everybody calling me during a coaching call? And I realized, I looked at the clock, I go, oh, I know, I'm about to miss my first show in 150 shows. But I knew Blaine was here to cover my ass as usual, and Craig. So thank you for your patience. Our streak is still alive, Mr. Siegel.
Yeah. To be honest with you, it was so uncharacteristic of you that we're actually worried. But just to see your face, we're happy, everything's good, and welcome aboard. We love you.
I was worried as well.
And Todd, thank you for all the nuggets and so forth. And I just want to piggyback on that. Another cool topic that you talk about is selection biases.
Yeah.
And for the audience listening right now, they're like, what exactly is that? How would you illustrate that?
Yeah. I grew up struggling with attention disorders. And my whole life, I was led to believe by educators that I had a hard time focusing. But then I would go home and I'd get into something I was interested in, and all of a sudden I could stay there all damn day and had no problem focusing. And what I've discovered as a marketer, my core responsibility is to hack the attention of a world that apparently can't focus. So please know, from this point forward in your life, don't think that people can't focus or they don't have an attention span. The truth is, if they can't focus on your stories just suck. And you need to make your stories better, right? I mean, it's just the God's honest truth. And when you talk to people in hyper relevant ways, let me give you an example. I heard that we've got a Seattle Seahawk fan in this conversation. Craig, what's your team?
The Jets.
Okay, feel for you, brother. All right, so guys, if I sent the two of you a email from the NFL, and it's about all the different teams, are you likely to read the entire thing? Probably not. But if I sent you an email specific about your individual team and it had high value to you, you'd read the whole damn thing. Why? Selection bias, not attention, selection. So when we market to people, now this is the business takeaway for everybody, especially people that aren't sports fans. If you market to a group of people based on their needs, their passion, their interests, and their frustrations, you will command their attention like never before. But if you treat people as if they're one size fits all, you're going to have low attention span out of them, which is low selection interest. So when we organize the material and we start to not do one size fits all marketing, but we segment our audiences into groups and send them relevant messages, we will pull them all the way through the information. Does that make sense?
It makes all the sense.
Right.
And I just want to reaffirm, this is an 8-figure conversation for anyone that can grasp this. Basically what you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, and Dave, you can attest this, when it comes to marketing, you can have the best message, but if it's to the wrong audience, it's going to go on deaf ears, right?
And I don't know, can I cuss?
Yeah.
Shitty marketers, when somebody doesn't go through the information, they're like, well, my audience clearly has an attention disorder. But the truth is, the marketer just didn't lean in deep enough to that audience to make it personalized and relevant to their needs.
So there's two lessons in marketing that I've learned from Einstein that apply to this, and it's a different way of saying how we gather attention. And so the first thing is to understand value. And the reason that we can garner attention is that the simple understanding of value, that there's only two ways to provide value to people. One, give them more of what they like. So if you like the Seahawks, give them more Seahawks. Or take away what they don't like. So if they have a rare disease on their foot in a skin disorder, then you want to go ahead and tell them how you're going to take away the skin disorder on their foot. So that's rule number one in marketing, is understand there's only two ways to provide value. So don't try to sell when you're marketing. Provide value when you're marketing. The second one is a nuance, a subtlety that I learned from Einstein that I thought was incredible when you realize Einstein's one of the biggest and most powerful brands ever created without TV or social media, because you can go around the entire world I've been in the Masamara with Blaine, on the Masamara with a Masamara warrior in his skirt and his Goodyear tire shoes. And I said, Jackson, if I asked you who the greatest genius of all time was, who would you think that is? And he said David Meltzer. No, I'm just kidding. He said Einstein. And he said Einstein. And I thought to myself, how is it that this guy has such a powerful brand? The Kardashians had every advantage. The Rock has every advantage. They've done movie and social media. They're incredible, but they're not even in the same league as Einstein when it comes to marketing. And the key that Einstein had is something that's beyond giving people more of what they like or taking away what they don't like. It's he had the ability to take someone from when they initially listen to Einstein, the first reaction you have is like, but he could quickly take you from to wow. And the shorter the distance between and wow and providing value in the two ways that we provide value, will take all these bullshitters, oversellers, back-end sellers, liars, manipulators, and cheaters, especially in digital marketing. They have beat the lawyers, the automobile salespeople. They are the biggest con men next to the 19-year-old life coaches that I see out there. And if you're capable of providing value and taking someone by piquing their curiosity, which my mentor Blaine taught me, piquing curiosity by saying, but quickly, if you leave them in you're going to lose them. But if you can take them from to wow and shorten that distance, I promise you, you can even build a brand as big as mine, being a middle-aged mutant turtle. You don't have to be as good looking as Kim Kardashian.
Right.
You can even show up late. You can show up late to your 150 episode and they still will love you.
Yeah, because you're bringing the heat.
I'm trying to show compassion. I know if it was me, Dave would be shredding me right now.
Oh, no, I would have gotten a hold of you at 7:30. I would have left you hanging. I would have called your girlfriend. I would have called your dog. But, I have a different level of dedication to finding people.
Well, your team, I imagine your team called you 100 times because we kept saying,
yeah, they should have called my wife. She was sitting right there looking at me like I was a moron.
Tell Julie I need a number.
You can have her number. It's posted on OnlyFans. You can have it. No, I'm kidding.
Dave, just real quickly, Dave, to piggyback on that, I saw you talking about something this week, which I thought was really cool. And that is a timeless classic is to still be able to pick up the phone and pique interest and not be beneath that. That's still a tool in your repertoire?
In person, on the phone, and I read. And that's what makes the differentiator. I have AI. I've just hired an entire full-time person to look at everything I do and tell me how I can do it better with AI. That's cool. But I show up in person, and I read every day. And that's what's going to make me have a huge advantage in the world. A huge advantage because a lot of people will get AI, but they won't know how to call. They won't know how to show up in person, and they don't read.
Yeah, I love it. And Todd, we'll land the plane with this.
I scared Blaine away, by the way.
I know.
It won't be the last time.
Todd, it doesn't matter how good your product is or your service, what you have to say, if there's nobody there to consume it. So marketing should be a part of everybody's strategy in some capacity, right?
Yeah, I agree. And one of the things that most people get wrong about marketing is they think marketing can be humble. The reality is marketing can't be humble because you need to stand out. Marketing has to be bold and you have to back it up. You personally can be humble and you can be sweet, but when you're helping to grab attention and move people, be bold, have bold claims, because it's the bold claims that triggers the ear that moves somebody to the next step and you can move them through. But when you meet with them, humility goes a long way, but still back up your claims.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah. The word guarantee goes a long way. And, when you can guarantee what you do and you have a credible background where people will look and say that's a very valid guarantee. This guy's been around for 35 years. He's way too big not to give me my money back. It's a huge advantage to say, look, try it. I'll give you everything back. We work month to month. I don't need to lock you in. I've been around a long time. Even when I lost everything, I came back and paid people back. So that's a huge advantage I have in giving guarantees.
No doubt. Hey, let's layer onto this. Do you guys mind? There is a value for people that have experience to distance yourself from competitors like this by gathering quotes from raving clients or testimonials. Don't get hung up that it has to be video. Okay, yeah, sure, I'm the video guy and I preach the good gospel on video all the time, and testimonial videos have the highest conversion rate. But don't stop with the limiting belief that if it's not in video, you shouldn't use it, because you can use a quote with an image in your sales materials when you're on Zoom. You can use them on your website. And then the next time you run into that person, grab your phone and get them to give you a 15 or a 20-second little take about how you impacted their life. And then look at your different clients and the different quotes. And the next time somebody gives you a objection in the sales process, like the most common one, which is like, yeah, this is great, dude, but have you ever done anything like this for somebody just like me? Reach into your grab bag of quotes and testimonials, and just like Tom Brady, run the right friggin' play at the right time. And a play in sales is just a replicatable pattern that creates a desired outcome. So when you have these plays, you're like, okay, maybe you're trying to sell to pharma for whatever, right? Maybe it's a device company, maybe it's a SaaS company. And somebody's like, hey, dude, that's great, but you ever done anything like this for somebody like me? Boom. Go to that slide, pop up that photo of the client, their logo, and the quote, and then handle that like a friggin' baller.
Todd, is there a
Can I add one thing? Can I add one thing
Yeah.
that Todd says, because it's a distinction. Beyond that is, an amazing advantage. But the real advantage beyond having testimonials is those that have been able to manage and develop visions in order to build a community of people that have been helping each other and know people that can help each other. Because if you look at Dr. Jacobs, if you look at Jobs, Gates, Dell, Cuban, what they have done is build communities of people that buy from them and sell for them for life. And so they don't even need the testimonials, because they have people in first class leaning over to the other guy saying, have you tried these earpods? Hey, I see you have a RIM pager. You should really try an iPhone. Hey, that ThinkPad's really nice. Have you ever tried a MacBook? It's amazing. And that's gives you the exponentiality beyond the credibility of testimonials, is when people are not only buying from you, but selling for
Another
you.
level.
Yeah, and also real quick, agreed. If you were to ask someone for a testimonial, hypothetically for people that are on here, is there a right time to ask a satisfied customer
Yes.
for a testimonial?
Yes. You guys, I got brought in at the beginning of the pandemic to help Tony Robbins' companies sell. And revenue went through the roof. And he pushed me out onto the stage and was like, brother, you got to start teaching this to people all over the world. And you know what I did? I waited a couple of years before I asked for a quote. When's the right time? Oh, and over that couple of years, I stressed over asking. I was, I did 15 speaking appearances for him last year, and I stressed over asking. And when you ask, you'd be surprised how quickly somebody says, oh, yeah, of course. But here's the most important part of the question that you asked. When is the right time? When that person's at peak state, when they're the most excited about you, when they're raving about, that's the time to ask. Because that's when their heart is most grateful for the work that you've done for them. Seize that moment and don't let fear, like I did, get in the way.
I love it. This was awesome. I'm not the most handsome cat in this call, but I think I learned the most just because I had the least amount of life experience. So thank you guys. Dave, you look like you want to land the plane with something?
I was going to say, you've paid the least dummy tax. Between the three of us, we're over $1 billion of dummy tax. So reach out to us. Don't make the same mistakes that we've made. And my favorite takeaway, Craig, is those 3 letters that I love. And it's amazing that someone like you and Blaine are afraid, like I am, to ask. And I can tell you the greatest successes in my life, including one time I asked the guy if I could fly his plane while I was up in the air, and I sat there for 35 minutes in this antique plane, being afraid of asking for help. And I asked, he's like, yeah, sure. And it was one of the best experiences of my life.
Yeah.
So ASK, ask for help. Fastest way to get there is to find people that are sitting in a situation you want to be in and ask them for directions, have them teach them and inspire you to bring the best out of you in those directions. Once again, thank you, all three of you, for your patience. I will make it up to you however I can. I appreciate all of you for letting me join.
Absolutely. And guys, go check out all the awesome stuff Todd and Blaine have going on. Thank you guys so much. Have an unbelievable weekend. Love you guys.
Love you.
Great.
Have a
Love
great
being
weekend. Bye,
on. Thanks,
Blaine.
guys.
See
Bye,
you
guys.
guys.
Thanks, Todd. I'll
Bye.
give you a call.
Love you guys. Have a great weekend. What an awesome episode. So many nuggets, so much wisdom with all that collective consciousness. I'm very blessed to be able to learn from those three cats that are a little bit further ahead than I am in this beautiful thing that is life. And I know that. And Big Dave, thanks for hopping on a little bit later. We love you. And just glad to see you. Guys, check out all the awesome stuff Todd has going on. He's an expert in all that stuff, in marketing, the video messaging, and so much more. Blaine is a Jedi in this stuff. He actually mentors Dave, and Dave mentors me. So a great thing right there. And obviously, Dave, thank you so much, as always. Love you guys. Let's have an unbelievable rest of the weekend. And remember, there's a lot more that's going on here than just this 1% 3D reality. Let's connect to a spiritual reality. Let's tap into something a little bit bigger. And one of the ways to do that is to understand the laws and the rules of the system by taming the ego, by sharing without an agenda, and so forth. And watch what happens. Mark, great to see you. Love you guys. Have a great weekend. And if you guys aren't in the texting community, it's totally free. Feel free to join. Just text 917-634-3796. Inspirational nuggets throughout the week. You dig. Bye, guys.